Mr. Prot, thank you so much for being with Bloomberg today. So another strong quarter for BNP Paribas. You beat our estimates from our analysts at Bloomberg. Can you tell me what drove profit this quarter?
Well, really, all three key divisions had strong results. Certainly, retail. The revenues in retail are up 3.5%. We had really strong volumes of deposits in Europe, and also loan growth around 4%. And the cost of risk in retail was down. Investment solutions, we had an increase of revenues of 12.2%, and CIB resisted very well because against an exceptional first quarter of last year, revenues were down 8.6%. Altogether, the revenues were up 1.3% to 11.7 billion euro. Gross operating income was 5 billion euro, and the cost of risk was 900 million euro, down 31%. And that resulted in a group net profit of 2.6 billion euro, up 15% to the first quarter of last year, with an annualized return on equity of 15.1%. So altogether, all three key divisions, retail, investment solutions and CIB, contributed strongly to this increased profit.
Let's talk a moment about Bankwest in the U.S. That drove profit in the fourth quarter last time. Are you satisfied with the performance of Bankwest in this last quarter? And are you looking for more acquisitions in the U.S.?
Regarding Bankwest, the revenue is up 3%. The costs are up 8% because we're investing in the franchise, and also the regulatory costs to comply with the large complex organization status we have is an increased cost. But volumes is okay. The cost of risk is 75 million euros. This is exactly half. The cost of risk was 150 million euro in the first quarter of last year. Therefore, the profits increased from around 100 billion euro to 167 million euro for the quarter. So we are really now back in strong profits for Bankwest, which is satisfactory. So at the moment, we are really concentrating on an organic growth plan. We don't really look for acquisition in the US.
How was the beginning of the second quarter in terms of trading activities?
We don't get into weekly comments on our activity, so I have nothing to add. If anything really special happened, we would have been communicating the market. So nothing special to mention. And the capital markets activity just in the first quarter was really strong. I want to emphasize especially our very good performance in fixed income. Our share of the Eurobond overall activity increased from 8.1% to close to 9%. We're still the leading #1 bank for all bonds in euro. And we also very much increased our presence for the Yankee US bonds. Therefore, increasing we went from #9 to #4 in terms of fixed income platform worldwide for international bonds. So fixed income was very strong in the first quarter, and I think we will continue to have a good momentum there.
Still, are you confident about the trading activities at the moment for the rest of the year? Are you confident that the recovery of the markets is sustainable?
We don't make forecasts. We actually our revenues for this first quarter are close to 3.5 billion euros. This is the upper bracket of the forecast we made for the year, which will be between 2.5 and 3.5 billion euros per quarter. So far, so good. And I think the positioning of BNP Paribas and the market share we see in Europe, in America with the US dollar, but also in Asia, is fairly positive. So we remain fairly positive altogether.
You just told me that you're not planning any acquisitions in the US. Would you be considering acquisitions targets elsewhere?
The key objective for us this year is to grow organically. We now have, after the successful integration of Fortis, quite a large operation, and we really think that we can continue to grow organically. We do so by having a successful increasing number of customers in Europe, in the wealthy markets where we operate, but also in Asia and in Brazil. So we are, and you see that in if you take, for example, investment solutions, the overheads, the expenses increased by 10%. This is all organic growth because for security services in Asia or wealth management in Asia, Latin America, and Brazil, we're hiring people and we're investing. I was 2 weeks ago in Singapore. In Singapore, we had 900 people 5 years ago. We now have 1,700 people, and we hope to have, we believe we're going to have 2,000 people by 2013. So we're continuing hiring on a continuous and I say rigorous basis, but so we are concentrating on organic growth, and we think this is a successful way to grow revenues and to grow profits at BNP Paribas.
One word about the situation in Libya and Ivory Coast. Did you take some provisions these quarters with these regions? What's your opinion, the impact of this Middle East unrest on the world economy? And would you also consider moving out maybe your Gulf operations out of Bahrain?
Well, regarding Libya, we don't consolidate anymore Sahara Bank. So also the same occurs for the BCCI of Ivory Coast, where we don't consolidate it anymore. We took some provisions out of our CIB operations to this for 92 million euros. CIB operations done out of Libya and out of Ivory Coast with these countries. As far as Bahrain is concerned, we remain confident that the Gulf region and Bahrain will continue to be fairly active, and so we don't have plans to move at the moment our operation there.
Can I have your view on the current debt crisis in Europe? Do you think that a restructuring of the Greek debt is something inevitable? And would a major European bank like yours, is it possible to avoid a haircut?
I don't want to feed the rumor mill on what will happen, and I believe personally that the restructuring of a country which is a member of the Eurozone is not in the plan. That being said, we've given the indication that for BNP Paribas, altogether, if you take Greece, Portugal and Ireland altogether, our sovereign exposure is 6.7 billion euros, and if you take a haircut, which is in my view quite theoretical, in mark-to-market as of the end of March, the end of the quarter, that would represent only 15 basis points of our common equity Tier 1 ratio, which stands at 9.5%, and that would be around €1 in terms of net asset value per share. So it would have very limited impact for BNP Paribas. But personally, I don't think that this is really on the plan.
What about Portugal? Do you think that will be the last, or are you worried about risk tied to Spain as well, for example?
No, as I said, and I think Spain is a different story, and I think in Spain, the economic management and also the way the Spanish authorities are managing the banking sector is efficient, and then they are doing the right thing. So I don't think there is any really real risk of contagion from the other peripheral country to Spain. So I think Spain is a different story.
The European Commission just opened last week some probes regarding the credit derivatives market. Are you cooperating? Are you confident BNP Paribas will be cleared?
Well, I've seen that we are a dozen of large European actors in this market that have been under investigation. I don't have anything to comment more. We'll let the investigation go on and we'll see. But I have no specific worry for BNP Paribas.
But are you worried like regulatory crackdowns on the CDS market could impact margins?
They just have announced the beginning of an inquiry. I think we need to the further developments of the inquiry. I'm not specifically worried at the moment, as I said.
And there's also another thing that's being examined at the moment that we just learned about. It's about the Repo Rate. Are you cooperating in this one as well, or?
I'm not even sure we are really concerned. If we have to cooperate, our general attitude is certainly to cooperate with the authorities in any case. Yes.
What would be the impact if you're considered too big to fail? I mean, how will tougher regulations affect your strategic growth?
Well, I think we still remains to be seen what will be the final outcome regarding the fees. What kind of is there any surcharge? What kind of amount? What would be the content in terms of common equity or core equity or other instruments? So I think it's too early to comment. And there again, we have to wait. Most probably, The final decisions on the CFIs regulation should be announced around the end of the year in conjunction with the G20 summit in early November and still chaired by France. So I think we'll have to wait there.
You seem to be worried about the uncertainty about these rules, are you?
Well, it's not. I think that it is very clear that for any industry, you want to work in a regulatory environment that is both clear and predictable. And then this is the this is the last piece maybe of regulation that needs to be clarified. So I'm concerned that it is still uncertain. I'm not really worried, but I'm concerned, and I think it will be good for this to be clarified when the time comes for the authorities to make their final decisions, which I think we are still a few months from there.
Mario Draghi, who is, might become the next ECB president, recently said that major European banks will have to raise capital within a year. Is that your situation? Do you think you will have to raise capital within a year?
I certainly believe that the capital position of BNP Paribas is very solid. We now stand at 9.5% core tier 1. We've increased our core tier 1 30 bips in one quarter, 120 bips, because last year at the end of March it was 8.2. So I think that I'm very comfortable that BNP Paribas, as the earning can start from a strong position and as a powerful earning capacity, and by really keeping 2/3 of our profits, because our payout ratio is 1/3, I'm very comfortable that we won't have to raise capital to meet the capital requirements that the regulators will set.
So you're very comfortable with the next stress test?
Oh, next stress test, more than yes. I think for BNP Paribas, we will very comfortably fulfill and very successfully pass the stress test. I have no doubt one second about that.
Finally, what do you think will be the main challenge this year?
I think for us, the main challenge is to basically continue to be acting in the best interest of our customers and serve our growing number of customers, even if there is some volatility. There in March, when the very bad accident happened in Japan, the markets were a bit jittery, and I think that BNP Paribas, as we have shown in our results, weathered that also a hiccup in volatility very well. So I think we have to really keep concentrated on doing every day the good job for the customers and control costs and risk at the bank. And I think it's very important. This is why we are not such an acquisitive mood, because I think we have the present platform of BNP Paribas has a growth potential that is fairly solid, and this is what we want to deliver to the shareholders. Disciplined growth and continuous organic growth quarter after quarter.
Finally, is it confirmed that you will become chairman next year and that Mr. Baudouin will replace you as CEO?
No, it's not concerned. This will be up to the board to decide in due time.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.